You're watching Beyond World is One. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. Let's get started with the top stories that we're tracking. Iran's Revolutionary Guard naval forces will carry out live-fire exercises in the Strait of Hormuz on the 1st and the 2nd of February. The strait is the world's most vital oil export route that connects the biggest Gulf oil producers. Russian President Vladimir Putin welcomes his Emirati counterpart Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to Moscow ahead of a second round of talks on the Ukraine war in Abu Dhabi. Russia carries out fresh strikes in Odessa again. This assault comes a day after a barrage of more than 50 Russian drones on Odessa killed 3 people and wounded more than 30. President Donald Trump's border czar Tom Homan says that ICE will return to its traditional targeted approach to enforcement. Says the administration is considering new guidelines for federal immigration officers in Minnesota. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer tells President Xi Jinping that he wants to build a sophisticated relationship with Beijing to bolster security and the economy. He signals a reset after years of strained ties. Oil prices climb about 5%, extending a 3-day advance. This is mounting concerns that the U.S. could launch a military strike against Iran. The heightened fears of potential supply disruptions from West Asia.
Hey guys, Dapu7. It looks like we've got another round of weather warfare bearing down on the U.S. This time it's going to come in the form of a bomb cyclone. And it's going to hit much of the East Coast, as you can see right here. We'll take a look at some maps here in a second. But we've got a lot of people out there still stuck, frozen, where they were at whenever the ice storm here recently hit. That storm itself stretched over 2,000 miles, and the setup has encased many people in ice. A lot of people without power still. And this system right here coming in, this bomb cyclone, could affect people that were hit in the storm that we just witnessed. Matter of a fact, we'll go over here and we will look at the setups. And you can see right here the current setup, and we're just going to go through some of these charts. Let's jump down here to this one right here. This is precipitation type, the ECMWF. And you can see that when this moisture, this line hits right here at the Carolinas, Southern Virginia, it explodes. You can see it right there. That is going to be the main target area. Now, this is going to be a bomb cyclone. This thing is dropping 24 millibars within 24 hours. You can see here also that it's going to go up and it's going to affect Halifax. There's going to be 2 key spots it hits right there off the Carolinas. It's going to skim the coastline and go up and target the Halifax, Upper New England region. Okay. See here, IFS. Let's go down and take a look here. Yeah, these models, because they're going to show us right here the heavier bands going up the East Coast. So everything right here, you can see you go from 6-7 inches of precipitation of snowfall upwards to 11-15. Okay, so again, a heads up here. This is setting up because normally we have the jet stream that comes right through the area right here. And this would stop anything from allowing like the Arctic air from getting this far down. But when the Arctic air is coming all the way down toward Florida, This is a setup off the bottom of that jet stream to do exactly what it's doing right here. And again, people that are not paying attention, they're going to get clipped by this one. Hopefully, people have a plan. We've got a ton of people out there in the dark still, or without power, because of the ice, and that's going to be ongoing. Let me know in the comments section what's going down in your neck of the woods.
A good morning, and now we're having a good evening, and we're going to a premiere in a little while. More important than what we're doing right now, in my opinion. Today, a executive order to combat the scourge of addiction and substance abuse. Big deal in this country, probably in every country. We're calling it the Great Recovery, and by co-chair Secretary of Robert F. Kennedy and Senior Advisor to the White House Great American Recovery Initiative, Catherine Burgum. Thank you both very much. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Where's Bobby? Bobby? Hello, Bobby. Come here, give me a hand. I love Bobby. You're doing a great job, Catherine, right? Do we think so? Who's doing a better job, him or your husband? Maybe the husband. He's doing a good job.
I'm just getting started, sir.
They're both doing very well, and now you're going to do better than both of them. Thanks as well to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary Doug Burgum, Secretary Scott Turner, Secretary Doug Collins, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who's got some pretty good news, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Oh, I've gotten good at that, Jay. Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's doing a fantastic job, and Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Sarah Carter. I also want to introduce a great friend of mine who happened to be here, and he's very much committed to this. He knows how important it is for our country. He's built a tremendous American company. It's called WeatherTech. I guess you've seen the ads. I've seen the ads. I think they're great ads, but more importantly, it's a great product. David McNeil. David, congratulations on what you've done. It's incredible.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Really great. And the president of WeatherTech, Ryan Granger. Ryan, congratulations. What a great job. They built an American company, and it's a thriving company, too, so with a great product.
It's great to be here in America.
You know, when I was in the private sector, I'd always buy the floor mats, but now that I'm president, I no longer have to buy floor mats. But you made a great floor mat, and you still do, and lots of other things. Many of those with me today have personally known the heartache of a loved one taken by drug or alcohol addiction. I do. Just like millions of American families, every year we lose an estimated 300,000 people to drug and alcohol abuse, and the real number is probably much, much higher than that. Thankfully, drug overdose deaths plummeted by 21% in the last year. We're working very hard on it. We've closed the southern border, seized over 47 million fentanyl pills and 10,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That's a record, and I have formally designated Dr. And I'll tell you what, we have a group of doctors, some of them behind me, who have just been incredible, and they've really wanted this, designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And for some reason, they didn't want to do that until we came along, but they are indeed foreign terrorist organizations. With our action in the Gulf of America, that sounds so nice when I hear the Gulf of America. Drugs entering our country by sea are down 97%. So when you see the boats being hit, those boats kill on average 25,000 people a boat. So that's 25,000, I would assume mostly American lives, but lives are being saved. Now we're taking a bold action to help Americans struggling with all forms of addiction so they can get the help and the support that they need to free themselves from the horrible burden of dependency. The Great American Recovery Initiative will bring together federal, state, local, and private sector resources to support addiction, recovery, treatment, and prevention. And it will help mobilize the full resources and authority of the federal government to help stop this tremendous plague. And I'd now like to invite Secretary Kennedy to start, and then Catherine Burgum, and then I'll sign the order, which I've just signed, and wanted to make sure the signature was good, took my time. And we get, let me just see, pretty good, pretty good. Let's give it a 10, okay, Catherine? For Catherine. But I'd like Bobby to say a few words, and Catherine, thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership, for signing an executive order that tells the truth about one of the greatest challenges that our country faces. Addiction is not a moral failure, it is a disease. It's chronic, it's treatable, and for too long our nation has responded with fragmentation, with stigmatization, and silence instead of science, compassion, and coordination. Today, President Trump changes that. With the Great American Recovery Initiative, we finally bring the full strength of the federal government together across healthcare, law enforcement, housing, labor, faith communities, and the private sector to save lives, restore families, and rebuild communities that addiction has hollowed out. Nearly 50 million Americans suffer from substance use disorder. Many never receive treatment. Even more don't believe that help is possible. That is not because recovery doesn't work, it's because our systems have failed to reach the people where they are early enough, long enough, and with dignity. This initiative fixes that. We will align federal programs instead of letting them operate in silos. We will set clear, measurable goals and report honestly to the American people. We will use evidence-based care, modern science, and continuous support, just as we do for heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. We will focus on prevention before addiction takes hold. We will intervene early. We will expand access to treatment that leads to real, long-term recovery. And we will support re-entry because recovery does not end when treatment ends. It succeeds when people return to their families, their jobs, and their communities with purpose and with hope. As co-chair of this initiative alongside of Catherine Burgum, whose leadership and commitment strengthens this work, I pledge urgency, accountability, and honesty. Catherine and I share the...
it's going to be a thing of the past, and I'm so proud to be part of
And
this.
fellas, some great things happening, right?
Yeah.
Marty, there's great, really great things happening, I hear. And some pretty big announcements over a short period of time, right?
Yep. Moving drugs over the counter so you don't need a prescription.
Yeah, right.
Naloxone, which treats opioid, is one of those drugs. And we're being proactive with synthetic 7-OH, a new opioid that's showing up. And we're working with the DOJ on addressing that because chemists are coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
That's great. No, I hear fantastic things. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, can you respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE's tactics are too aggressive? Photographers, reporters, we're done. Thank you, cameras, we're going. Thank you, press. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Are we going to flip for this, or what are we going to do? Oh, sorry, I really need to figure it out.
Come on over here. Let's talk to David for a second.
You guys get a good picture.
Gang violence and political instability in Haiti have displaced close to 1.5 million people. They've also led to an explosion of sexual violence as living conditions and public services deteriorate. Most of the victims are women and girls. This woman, who asked not to be identified, was attacked by 3 men while shopping for food. After that, my life became difficult. Sometimes I live life without truly living. Médecins Sans Frontières say they're alarmed and outraged by what they're seeing. What you're about to see is not an accident. It's a daily reality for many women and girls living in a city plunged into a major humanitarian crisis, marked by widespread violence and massive population displacement. MSF says the number of sexual abuse cases has tripled in the last 4 years. 70% of their patients have been displaced. Now the NGO is calling on authorities to allocate more money for healthcare and for services to help survivors rebuild their lives.
We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. When we hit the streets, we know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. You have a criminal history. You have their immigration history. A lot of information about this person that we get from numerous databases out there. Targeted, strategic enforcement operations. That's traditionally been the case, and that's where we're going. That's what we're going to continue to do and improve upon that. With a prioritization on public safety threats. I want to be clear. I don't read a lot of social media. I don't read a lot of media. I don't believe half what I see. We are not surrendering the president's mission on immigration enforcement. Let's make that clear.
This morning, we're learning more about a man accused of repeatedly ramming his car into Chabad World headquarters in Brooklyn last night. City officials, including Mayor Mamdani, have condemned this attack. So let's get to Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore live for us in Crown Heights. Crystal, we know the vehicle has been taken away. We heard a lot of celebrating from the people of that community there.
Good morning, Pedro. Yeah, I mean, just literally moments after a tow truck removed the Honda that the suspect used to allegedly slam into Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters, a group of young men just erupted with cheer. I want to get straight to that video of the tow truck removing that Honda. Again, this is here on Eastern Parkway near Kingston Avenue. The tow truck removing the Honda that, again, police say the driver used to slam into an entrance just feet away from the main entrance of Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters. The incident taking place on Eastern Parkway near Kingston Avenue around 8:45 last night. We also have new video that shows what happened. The suspect allegedly hitting the building, reversing, and then hitting it again. Now, police who are patrolling the area and witnessed what happened say they saw the suspect ram his car about 4 times. Officers ordered the driver out of the vehicle and took him into custody at the scene. He allegedly claimed to police that his vehicle had a mechanical issue. The NYPD bomb squad responded and conducted a full sweep of the car, and they didn't find any weapons or explosives. Now, Jewish community leaders point out that the suspect has actually been to synagogues in New York and New Jersey in recent months, asking how he could convert and asking for spiritual guidance. Now, Mayor Mamdani and the police commissioner Tish showed up at the scene and promised swift action. We did speak to eyewitnesses who described what they saw. Take a listen.
He's yelling at the boys to move out the way as they were standing in the driveway. And he pulls his car in, and then he starts ramming the building, driving in, reversing, driving in again, just driving in and out. Did it about 5 times. Straight away, boys ran to, there's a police unit parked outside the main entrance to the building, and ran. The police came and pulled him out of the car, arrested him. It was about 6 foot long hair. He was just wearing a shirt, but just underwear.
And back out here live, you can see some young men able to go back into Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters. This is a historical site. There are several men who study historical religious texts here. We do know that there was a Chabad holiday yesterday, and there were thousands of people visiting this iconic and historical site. So officials saying it's just a miracle that no one was injured. We know at this point no charges have been filed against that 36-year-old man, the suspect from Carteret, New Jersey. Police are treating him at this point as an emotionally disturbed person. The New York NYPD hate crime task force is investigating. The police commissioner pointing out that it's still too early at this point to determine a motive in this case.
Officers from the 7-1 precinct assigned to a detail in front of the Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters heard a commotion in the building's main entrance. When they responded, they observed a vehicle strike the rear door, reverse, and strike the rear door again. Officers immediately ordered the driver out of the car, and they placed him under arrest. There are no reported injuries at this time. This incident is currently being investigated as a hate crime.
Any threat to a Jewish institution or place of worship must be taken seriously. Anti-Semitism has no place in our city. and violence or intimidation against Jewish New Yorkers is unacceptable.
Horrific scenes along a highway just south of the South African city of Durban early on Thursday morning. At least 11 people died in a head-on collision between a truck and a minibus taxi, while 8 others were critically injured. An initial inspection by law enforcement officers found that the truck had worn out tyres while the taxi was reportedly overloaded. Both drivers survived and are under police guard. The crash comes just a week after a similar incident in which 14 school children died.
Paralysed patients in the UK have received Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip for the first time as he expands his human trials across the world. Live to Mimi Becker in London. Mimi, medical experts say this is mind-blowing.
Jane, that's the exact words they've used, and 7 patients in the United Kingdom have now been fitted with this brain chip, which essentially allows a form of telepathy. It means people can control a technological device like a phone or a laptop by using their mind. The first chip was implanted 2 years ago, and now 21 people across the world are using them, and patients say that understandably it's life-changing.
Some people would put it as the side of magic. It looks magical and it feels magical. So yeah, you can compare it to that.
Today was the first time I actually see him use it, and it was mind-blowing.
Neuralink founder Elon Musk has hinted that they're ready to expand to a new venture, including BlindSight, and that is a device that will help potentially restore vision. Jane?
Amazing, Mimi. Thank you.
Artificial intelligence is evolving faster than ever expected, and it's changing every aspect of our lives.
But now there are warnings that Australia could face an economic ice age if we don't utilise the tech. To discuss, we're joined by futurist Dr. Catherine Ball. Doc, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Gee, that sounded bleak.
It is a little, but you know what? This is a red flag and a warning. We've got to do something this year, and we're not there. We're about 8 to 10 years behind where we probably should be.
Well, tell us about that.
Yeah. So if you think about the infrastructure that we have in this country that our AI researchers themselves can use, we don't have enough. We actually have AI researchers here in Sydney having to use their mates in Switzerland to access Swiss infrastructure to do the research that they're trying to do.
So what kind of an impediment does that have on things like research, and which areas do you think are most impacted by this?
Well, all areas of research now are turning to AI to look at new models for, say, drug discovery, even, public health data, all of the things that we want to be able to do with AI, we're literally not able to do. I'm just going to give some numbers of an equivalent economy, which is South Korea. So the South Korean government is putting $1.8 billion just this year alone into infrastructure and education and training for the workforce. The UK government are putting 10 million people through AI training in the next 3 to 4 years. And when we think about the South Koreans, again, they're putting in 25,000 GPUs and they want 250,000 GPUs. We just upgraded our national computing infrastructure with 100 GPUs. It's not that we're taking a knife to the gunfight, we're taking a soup spoon, and this is a warning for our economy.
Well, that is bleak. That's a bleak assessment. 16,000 jobs already going at Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Does it necessarily mean that we're going to lose all those jobs, or will they be redirected? Do we need to redirect them into the field somehow? Is there a place?
There is, and it's all to do with radical reskilling and training. So if the UK government can train a third of their workforce, 10 million people in the next 3 to 4 years, how are we going to train ours? We only have... The free TAFE course is great. TAFE New South Wales has a free course. I've done it. It's very basic introduction. It's micro-credential. What we actually need are industry working with government to train our workforce in what AI is going to mean for their jobs, and we're not doing it right now.
Well,
why do you think the Australian government is reluctant to take on AI in the same way that, the example you gave before there about South Korea? I mean, if this is the way of the future, is it just a cost impediment given how much is needed? I mean, there's also a lot of energy involved with AI centres.
Well, I've talked to a few AI researchers and people that sit using AI systems, even if they're not core AI researchers, and not one of them has told me that they're happy with the level of support from the government. And I've asked them why. What are the questions that we can ask? How can we have these conversations? And a couple of them have said that they doubt that our government even has the literacy to talk about the AI opportunities. And we are always seen as this fast follower. Oh, we'll use this programme, or we'll use this service. And they don't think that we've got the capability to build it it ourselves. We invented Wi-Fi, for goodness. You know, we can do these things.
Is there something wrong with that? Is there something wrong with taking on something that's been developed elsewhere?
Well, if I was to ask you, you know, if you wanted to put all of your national defence infrastructure in the hands of a foreign company, would you feel comfortable with that?
No.
Because that's what we're doing with our AI infrastructure right now.
Okay. So the other question I wanted to ask you is, I mean, to be fair to them, AI tech is moving so fast. So how do you pour billions of dollars into something that is redundant within a very short space of time?
It isn't redundant. The fact is we need to have the infrastructure to get our economy going. So, I mean, if the South Koreans, who have the same size economy as us, can put in, what, 3 billion Australian dollars this year, and we're putting in 39 million over 4 years for a national AI safety institute, where's our national AI jobs and growth institute? It's like we've become very reductionist and very protectionist, which is great, but at the same time, we need to look at the opportunities from these technologies, and we are just not putting the money in.
Look at it the other way, opportunity rather than
massive opportunity.
The European Union today designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, a first for the bloc, and it also sanctioned 15 individuals and 6 entities across Iran's government that were seen to be complicit in the brutal crackdown that killed more than 6,000 people and imprisoned tens of thousands more and led to an almost complete internet blackout in the country. This comes as the U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered United States military assets into the region and is ratcheting up pressure on Iran. Analysts and lawyers tell us that these sanctions and this listing might not have immediate financial or practical effects on officials and institutions in Iran, but it really symbolizes that Europe is done with diplomacy, or at least putting it aside in favor of a policy of containment and isolation over what they see as violence that truly crossed a line when suppressing peaceful protests earlier this year.
Switching our focus now to Russia and Ukraine. Russia has ramped up the Blitz. Missiles and drone swarms shred Ukrainian lines. Fronts have crumbled from Zaporizhia to Kharkiv as Moscow grabs more territory. Ukraine buckles under relentless hammer. It blows to ground, shifts fast. The Chechen leader Kadyrov has said that Russia should fight the war in Ukraine till the very end. As the war grinds on the grim, the toll keeps rising, with Ukraine facing the maximum brunt.
Heavy explosions puncture the cold dawn across multiple fronts in Ukraine as Russian forces push harder than at any point this year. Russian troops are hitting fast and hard across the front line, upping the intensity of strikes and forcing Ukraine's defenders onto the back foot. This offensive is not just about infantry and armor. The Russian army is employing the fearsome TOS-1A Solnsepyok thermobaric rocket launcher. It is a short-range but devastating system that blankets enemy positions with fuel-air explosives and intense overpressure. The launcher's rockets can wipe out fortified positions, trenches and concentrations of defenders in seconds, making it a terror on the battlefield. European Union says that Russian strikes push Ukraine towards catastrophe.
They are bombing Ukrainians, trying to bomb and freeze them to surrender. And that's why we are also discussing the energy support that we can give them, because it's very hard winter and Ukrainians are really suffering. There's a humanitarian catastrophe coming there.
Over the past 24 hours, Russian Defense Ministry claims that the Ukrainian army lost roughly 1,125 troops in battles with Russian forces. Kyiv says it has received from Russia 1,000 remains of people that Moscow said were Ukrainian soldiers killed in fighting. Despite this pressure, Kyiv's forces are counter-attacking where they can, slowing some advances and mounting defensive stands. Cities tremble under artillery and drone swarms. Supply lines are stretched. Morale is tested. Yet Ukrainian resistance remains fierce, even as Russian units push deeper into contested territory. despite trilateral talks between Russia, Ukraine and US. The fighting only seems to be becoming intense with every passing day. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
سنختار في وقتها كيف نتصرف تدخلا أو عدم تدخل أو بالتفاصيل التي تكون متناسبة مع الظرف الموجود في وقتها.
Hamas was a big factor in getting all of the hostages back. We were not happy with them, and they had to bring them back. And they found the dead hostages, the bodies of hostages, and those parents wanted their sons back. I think in all cases, sons.